Has a commercial ever traumatized you? Maybe, maybe not. But let's check out some traumatizing game commercials by Kyoto Robato. I really like his videos and hopefully you will too. So let's get on into it.
Japan has some of the creepiest, most unsettling media out there.
Hmm.
So popular and
Cool.
distinctive is the style and presentation of Japanese horror movies, books, and games
Mm-hmm.
that they have become a famous genre in their own right that has won fans all over the world.
Mm-hmm.
And naturally, to announce the release of such eerie media, commercials are also broadcasted on TV and the internet. Occasionally, though, some believe these go too far and
Mm-hmm.
call for them to be taken off the air. These are the creepiest Japanese video game
Okay.
ads. As you can probably guess, the video is very different from my usual content,
Mm-hmm.
but after a suggestion from a viewer, I wanted to do something a little lighthearted, less serious than my
Check
usual
out his
content in keeping
videos
with the spooky
down below.
Halloween season. Don't worry, it'll be
It's
back to
definitely
usual for
Halloween
my
season
next
right now.
video, so just consider this a one-off Halloween special. If
Okay.
you're a returning viewer or
Mm-hmm.
someone new to the channel, welcome. I make videos on Japanese cases, strange, solved and unsolved.
Mm-hmm.
If that sounds like something you think you'll find interesting, please consider subscribing and turning on notifications. It really helps the channel grow.
Do
Also,
that.
I'd appreciate it if you'd take the time to watch my other videos. In
Mm-hmm.
any case, I hope
I've
you enjoy
seen
your
most
time
of
here.
his.
Let's get on with the video.
Okay.
In Japanese, there is something known as Traumatizing or traumatizing
Traumatizing.
commercials in English.
Hmm.
These are advertisements that are said to truly shock audiences with their style,
Mm.
sometimes unintentionally, causing them to
I
have a
hate
lasting
those
effect
horror
on people
movies
for
in
years to come.
English.
Well, as
Those
the saying
commercials
goes, any
traumatize me.
publicity is good publicity.
Uh-huh.
On the
Not really though,
22nd
but
of
yeah,
March
they say that.
2001, Capcom released an
2001.
expanded version of Resident Evil Code Veronica, known as
Hmm.
Code Veronica X in the West. This
I've never
version of the
played
game,
Resident Evil.
available on both the PlayStation 2 and the Dreamcast, included
Oh.
over 10 minutes of additional cutscenes that further explained Wesker's involvement with Umbrella,
Hmm.
as well as some graphical updates to character models. To inform the Japanese public of the then upcoming release, Capcom made this brief teaser to be broadcasted on national TV stations.
Okay. Hallway. Hallway. Ooh.
Code Veronica.
That's it.
Capcom.
Capcom.
The long, drawn-out silence over an empty, unassuming hallway followed by the sudden sound of the window breaking
Yeah,
was
but it
said to be
wasn't
extremely scary and startling for first-time viewers.
really.
Since only the game title was said ominously at the end, it also
It
left a
wasn't that
lasting
scary.
impression on anyone who saw it.
Hmm.
The commercial has been compared to scenes from The Shining, and while there were some complaints that it was too scary, it was lauded by horror and game fans alike for perfectly capturing what a scary game should be. It
Hmm.
wasn't aired for long, maybe due to some of the backlash, but
Capcom.
it is still remembered today for its strong impact.
Hmm.
The next ad comes from an
Cool
unlikely
Mario.
source, family-friendly Japanese company Nintendo.
Hmm.
But as far as we know, it is not intentionally creepy, and instead
Okay.
has an unsettling reputation due to something mysterious in the background that caused quite a stir.
Hmm. Game Boy. $20.
Launched in May 2004 to announce the release of the second set of NES games for the Game Boy Advance, this short commercial shows famous musician Shigeru Joshima playing a Konami game known as Gambare Goemon
Okay, so
on a
$20 for the
bus.
game.
It's a short, funny ad with nothing special about it really.
Mm-hmm.
Over his shoulder through the window, however, we can see what appears to be the face of a woman moving. While this is
Probably
most likely
just-
a staff member who
yeah.
inadvertently entered into the shot,
Mm-hmm.
perhaps to give the other woman the cue to enter into the bus, There were some who claimed that the unknown woman was a ghost, since she wasn't noticed by anyone on set. The
Well, no
angle would
one was
also
looking
mean
at
that the
her.
woman was exceptionally tall, especially considering Japanese average height.
Hmm.
For something made by Nintendo and involving a famous celebrity, you'd think that the highest standards would be met here. After numerous claims
But it
and
was
complaints by
early
members
on,
of the
right?
public,
So.
the commercial wasn't broadcasted for a long time, and has mostly faded into infamy in the following years. Was it an oversight, or
Yeah,
something
probably.
creepier? I will let you decide. Speaking of Konami, the next commercial is for Silent Hill 4 The Room, a PlayStation 2
Never played
horror
that
game
either.
about a man attempting to escape from his locked apartment, released in 2004. Despite the uncanny feeling of the Silent Hill games, the trailer isn't anything unusual or really scary, but let's give it a watch.
Okay. Konami. This is just a typical day in my life. Oh. And I mean the blanket and stuff. Ooh. Police, open up.
サイレントヒル4ザル好評発売中
$70?
Apparently, the sudden banging on the door at the end of the ad caused quite a commotion in the country when it first aired.
Really?
Since many Japanese people live alone in tiny apartments, the sudden change in style and sound gave the illusion that someone was hammering on people's doors in real life. And since Japan has a widespread problem with vile crimes like stalking and harassment, some women were particularly frightened. There
But
were
they
a
do
few
show the
complaints
door.
about this ad, but it continued to be broadcasted throughout the release of the game to push sales, and its broadcast time wasn't influenced by any backlash. Funnily enough, this trailer has become somewhat famous in the West due to the recent video game conspiracies about Blue Box Games, Kojima, and a new Silent Hill, but this isn't the video for that. The next commercial is actually a series of ads that were considered so disturbing that they were outright cancelled due to complaints by members of the Japanese public.
Okay.
Siren, released on the PlayStation 2 on the 6th of November 2003, is a horror stealth game about survivors in a strange village where most of the locals are infected with a bizarre affliction that causes them to bleed from their eyes. The game is famous for using real human faces that are superimposed onto character models, which further enhance the uncanny nature of the game. The same technique was used in advertisements too, to great effect. Anyway, let's begin with the most controversial Siren ad.
Awesome.
Apparently, this particular teaser caused a lot of trauma among children who had a difficult upbringing or bad parents. Understandably, it struck a nerve and caused a great deal of complaints to flood TV channels, forcing a suspension of its broadcast. But this is just one of a few Siren ads to run prior to the game's release.
Okay. Itsuno.
Siren.
I mean, that one seems normal for a horror game. $60.
Since the siren at the beginning of the ad sounds similar to some earthquake or warning sirens, some people found it a little distasteful given the amount of casualties such events cause. Coupled with the dark themes for the rest of the ad, it was considered a little too disturbing for daytime TV. Unlike other commercials, it wasn't shown on TV much after its initial broadcasts. But even the remake, Siren Blood Curse, ran into its own controversies in 2008 in the lead up to its release.
Siren.
Oh.
The jump scare nature of the commercial was even considered dangerous for elderly people, and given Japan's elderly population, it wasn't well received by viewers. So like the ads back in 2003,
They
the
do not
2008
like
ones
jump
for the remake
scares.
were also suspended from broadcast on Japanese TV shortly after airing due to a high number of complaints. Since all these siren commercials eventually got pulled off TV, there are some who believe it was intentional to create media buzz about how terrifying the games were. While this is certainly a
Did the
possibility,
game
I
do
personally doubt this is true. The final trailer we will look at in this video is from a more recent game, Nier Automata. First released on the 23rd of February 2017, this action RPG is
only
about
know
a
that
proxy war
character.
between alien machines and human androids. Somewhat keeping with this theme,
Yeah.
Square Enix, the company that published the video game, released this teaser trailer.
私たちは壊されるために生まれてきたアクション RPG ニーヤオートマタ
That
The
seems
destruction of the
normal.
dolls is creepy enough, but what is said during these bizarre scenes in an unsettling voice makes this stand out over a lot of other teasers, especially because it sounds like a young girl. While there is no information I can find in regards to complaints, many people online have expressed how uneasy this commercial makes them feel, despite Nier not even being a horror game. So there you have it, some of Japan's creepiest game commercials said to have been so traumatizing that they caused a flood of complaints to come into TV channels and game companies alike. Have you seen any of these ads before or played any of the games?
No.
And if so, did they make you scared? Let me know in the
Just that
comments
one
below.
jump scare, but that was
In any case, have a
was
happy
pretty
Halloween.
quick 'cause I got over it. But have you seen any of these? Would they traumatize you? I mean, I guess I'm not really the target audience to be traumatized since I am almost 20. But I guess if I was like a kid or like an old lady, then yeah, maybe. But let me know what you think and check out Kyoto Robato down below. And until next time, bye bye.